So in this tutorial I'm showing you how to use the automatic saving function. So firstly, if you haven't done so already, save your project anywhere you like and then click on settings and then go down to preferences. You can also press F6 as a shortcut. Next, click on the general tab and then go down to automatic save interval. It will default to 10 minutes, but you can change this to what you want. I'm going to change mine to 5 minutes. You can do this by deleting the previous number and typing the number, or you can use the up and down arrows. Once you're happy with that, you can press OK. You have now set up your automatic saving function. So it's fairly simple to do this. You first of all need to click on settings and then click on preferences. You can also press F6 for a shortcut to do this. So now you're on preferences, you need to click edit. You then go down to the bottom here and you'll see it says transition effect. You need to click automatically add transition effect. It'll probably default to untick, so you need to tick that, and then you need to choose the default transition effect. Now it will probably be already set on random, so we'll add a random transition every time, or you can choose a specific one. So if you always want it to do the same transition, then you can choose one from this drop down menu and it will always add that transition to your video. So I'm going to choose this FX arrows one. You can also change the effect duration by changing this number here. So 1 will mean 1 second, so you can change that to as many seconds as you want. So that's all there is to adding an automatic transition effect to your videos. The first thing you need to do is click on the graphics icon, which is in the middle here. Left click on that. You'll then see that there's lots of different colours. However, there's not all the colours, but you can create new colours. So to create a new colour, just left click on an existing colour, press options, and then you'll see there's a colour picker here. If you left click on that, you can choose from a whole range of different colours. You can also use these two other colour pickers. Then you can choose a specific colour. I'm going to choose this red, and then click OK. You'll then see that my red has been inserted into the library. I can now use that in my project by left clicking and dragging it onto my timeline. You'll then see that my colour has been inserted into the first video track on my timeline. So to download free content, you first of all need to click on this orange button at the top right here. So if you left click on that and then click on do more, you'll then see that here is a range of different things you can download. So there's templates, audio, titles and tools. Now you'll see I'm on the templates tab at the moment, and you'll see that there's a load of different things here which can be downloaded for free. So to download them, you just simply click download now, and then you'll see that it is now downloading. Once this download is complete, you'll be able to install it, and then once you've restarted VideoStudio X5, it will be installed into your library. So let's wait for it to download. Then you can see that it says install now, so then click install now, and then choose your language. Then you'll see it's installing. This may take a few seconds to do. Read the terms and conditions, then click install. Then you'll see the setup has finished. It is now installed onto your VideoStudio X5. So all you have to do now is restart the program, and then you should see it in your library. So these are the templates you can download. There's also audio, titles and tools. Now most of these things are free, However, there are a few things which you have to pay for. But I really recommend you look at all these things, as some of them are really good and can be really handy when using the software. So it's very simple to add music. All you have to do is click on the Media tab, which is here, and then you'll see there are 3 little buttons here. One is video, one is photos, and one is audio files. Now music comes under audio files, so you need to make sure that one is highlighted. To make it easier to search for music files, unhighlight the photo tab and the video tab. You'll then see that all of your music files are here, and you can easily see them without all the photos and video files which you've imported into the library being there. So you need to choose a music file and then left click on it and then drag it onto the timeline into the music area to the position you want it. So I'm going to drag mine there, and then you'll see that it is now fully inserted.
So the first step to inserting a title to your project is to click on the title button. Now to do this, it's the middle one here on the list. So you need to left click on that, and then you'll see there is a whole load of default titles. Now you can use these and edit them, or you can create your own from scratch. So firstly I'm going to show you how to edit default titles. So first of all, you need to pick one from the list, left click on it, and drag it into the titles area on the timeline. You then let go of left click and it will be inserted. Now you'll now see that there is absolutely nothing except for your video on the preview window. So what you need to do is press play, and you'll see the default title which you've just inserted. Now to edit this, you need to left click on the title and then double click and then erase what there is written there and enter what you want your title to say. So I'm just going to enter the C, as that is what my video is of, and I don't want the second one, so I'm just going to press delete on that. So this is now my basic title, but I want to change the colour and I want to change the font. So to do this, I'm going to firstly change the font. You need to make sure it's highlighted or clicked on, and then you need to go to the title area here. Now if you don't have this, you need to click on edit, which is just here. Yours might be on attribute, but it may not be. So make sure you're on edit, and then use the drop down arrow here, and then use the scroller, and you can pick a font of your choice. So I'm just going to choose this one, and you'll see that it has now changed to my new font. So I now want to underline it, so I need to click on the underline button here. You'll then see that my title has been underlined. So the next thing I want to do is change the colour of my title. To do this, I need to just click on this box here. Now yours may not be white, but mine has defaulted to white. So left click on it, and then you'll see a whole load of different colours. So I'm going to change mine to green. Now you can see it doesn't really work that well with the background, so you can just click on it again and you can change it again. So the next thing I want to do is resize it. Now there are 2 ways of doing this. You can left click on it, and then you can use the resizing boxes around the outside of it by left clicking and dragging it, or you can go down here and you can change the font size to a number of your choice. So I'm going to change mine to 60. So the next thing I want to do is either add a border, shadow, or set the transparency. So to do that, I'm going to click on this button here. So for border, I'm just going to make it number 1 for the border width. You can change that with the up and down arrows here. So I've set mine as number 1. You can then change your line colour by clicking in this box here and then clicking on a colour you want the line to be. So I'm just going to set mine as this bluey grey colour. Now this button here changes the text transparency, so obviously the higher the number, the more transparent your text will be. I'm going to keep mine at 0. This here changes the soft edge of your text, so the higher the number, the softer the edge of your text will be, as you can see. I'm just going to set mine as 20. Then I'm going to press OK. Now you can see that it doesn't really look that good anymore, so I'm just going to make my text bigger by going on this drop down menu and changing it to 100. And now I can realign it again. So that's the way of inserting your text from a default title which you have edited. So now I'm going to show you how to do it from scratch. So to create a title from scratch, you need to click on the title button again and then double click anywhere on the preview window. You'll then see that there is an area for me to type my title. So like before, I'm just going to call it the C, and you'll see that all the formatting is still there from when I was showing you how to do it from the default titles. So I'm going to change it again. Like before, I'm just going to change the font type and then I'm going to change the colour. I'm then going to align it to the centre again, and it's as simple as that. It's that easy to insert titles to your projects in VideoStudio Pro X5.
So if you look on my channel, you'll probably have seen that I've already made a video similar to this for a previous version of VideoStudio Pro X4. But I've now decided that I'm going to do it for X5 because a few things have changed, and also I'd like to go a bit more in depth, and I also want to make this video better for people who have never actually used the software before, and also for people who have used the software. So if you have used the software before, then when I'm going through some of the more basic things, then I do apologise. You can skip forwards if you want to, but I will be touching on some fairly basic things for people who have not used the software before. So basically, for an intro video, it's going to be something that you'd have at the beginning of your videos on your projects. So they'll probably only be about 5 seconds, maybe up to 10 seconds long. But it can really give your projects a professional feel, and if you're doing it for YouTube or anything, then it can make it really look good for your videos. So you might even get more subscribers from it because it just looks more professional overall. So if you first of all click on these 3 tabs here, you'll see that it has opened up some default pictures, it's also opened up some default videos, and it's also opened up default music and sound clips. So I'm just going to be making my video from these today, but if you're going to do this really professionally, then I would suggest that you actually made your own to suit your style of your videos more. But like I say, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm just going to be using these default clips. So basically, these 3 little buttons here are to hide and show the 3 different file types. So there is the music files, also the sound files, there are the photo files, and there are the video files. So just to make it easier when using the software, basically, if you only want the video ones to show, then you would get rid of the other 2, and only your video clips will be here now. Likewise, if you did it for the photos, only your photos will be here. So it can make it a lot easier to use. So obviously, if you want to find out more about this software, then you can go and look at my other videos, as this tutorial is mainly just for getting into how to make an introduction for your videos. So first off, I think we really need a video clip to start for the background of the intro. So I'm just going to choose one at random here, and I'm just going to go for V12. And you can now see that I've inserted that into the timeline, and this is going to be the basics of the introduction. Now you'll see it's around 5 seconds long. It's actually 5.5 seconds long. You can shorten it if you wish. To do that, you just left click on the right of it here, and then you drag and then let go, and you'll see it's now shortened it. So it is now only approximately 4 seconds long. But I'm going to keep it at maximum length, so I'll just keep it around that area of 5 seconds long. So this looks quite smart, but it doesn't really tell you anything about yourself. You need to get your name on there, or your channel name, or whatever you're doing your video about. So to do that, you need to first of all click on this title button here. and this will allow you to insert titles onto your project. So you can use these default ones here, and then you can edit them and choose whatever you want it to say, or you can click on options and you can edit it all here. But I'm just going to make my own custom one, so I'm just going to go to the timeline right at the beginning, and you'll see on the screen here it says double click to add a title. So you just double click on there, and then I'm going to insert what I want it to say. So it's Dave Tops Tips. Just put a capital in there. So my intro is going to be about Dave's top tips. So you'll see that it has now inserted it onto the timeline down here, but when you play it you'll see that it disappears halfway through, which obviously we don't want. Now this is because when I inserted it, it just did the default length, which looks like it's around 2 seconds, yeah, 2.5 seconds. So you just click on it and then left click and then drag it to the same length as your video, which is at the top here. And now when we play it through, you'll see that it stays the whole way through. Now it looks fairly good, but there's no action in it. We want it to look more exciting than that. So you can add an animation. So what you need to do is first of all click on the title, left click on there, and go over to here, which is attribute, then click on animation and then apply. Now you'll see on this drop down menu there are a load of different types of animation you can apply to your title. So for a start I'm just going to click on a drop one, and then you'll see that all 4 have appeared here. Now there will be more for some. For example, the fade one looks like there is around 11ish there, which is fairly good, and there's a load more for all the other ones, so you can just play around and see what you can find out about them, and there are some really good ones in there. So we're just going to choose this one for now, and then that is now inserted onto the title. So you can see it's a bit better now. It's got a bit of movement in it, which makes it more exciting instantly, but it's still not right there. So I'm going to go ahead and go further into editing this title. So now I'm going to click on edit, and then you can see there are a load of things here which you can change. So there's the font type, there's the size, you can have a backdrop, and you can change the angles, and there's loads of stuff you can do. You can make it bold, italic, or you can do underline. So I'm just going to change for a start the font type. So I'm just going to make it Sonic. So now that already adds action to the title. I'm then going to go and add a border, shadow or transparency. So I'm going to add a shadow to mine. I'm going to go ahead with this drop shadow, and then you'll see that it is automatically added a shadow to it. However, I do not want it so far out, and I also do not want it so blurred. So you can change the softness with this number here. So obviously the lower the number, the harder it will be. So you can now see it's got a lot harder. And I'm also going to change this transparency to 0. I'm just going to then click OK, and then play that through. So you can see it's still fairly slow. So what I'm going to do is go back onto the animation, and I'm going to choose a different one, something that will fit a bit better with this. So I've now chosen the flying motion. I'm going to customize this animation attribute by clicking this here, and I'm going to choose where it enters from, where it exits, what the starting unit is, what the ending unit is, and if it pauses. And I am going to set it to pause. I'm going to have a long pause. I'm fine with having the text as the starting unit and also the text for the end unit. It's going to enter from the bottom, but I also want it to leave at the bottom as well. So if I put this down arrow ticked here and then click OK, you'll now see that when we run through it, that it will enter from the bottom and it will leave at the bottom as well. So you can now see it's coming together quite nicely. So obviously I'm not spending much time on this because I can't really, because I'm recording it obviously for YouTube and you'll be sat there for hours watching this video, so I'm really just rushing into it. But if you spend loads of time onto it and put loads of hard work into it, you can really make a professional looking introduction. Now I'm not saying that this one doesn't look professional, but I can tell you, you can do a lot better than me because I'm just rushing this. So it's now time to add music to the introduction. So like I said earlier, you can hide the videos and add an audio file. I'm then going to go ahead and choose one of these. I'm going to go with M15 and then drag that down onto the music file here on the timeline, and then I'm going to play that through. The audio has really made it better, but you can see that the audio clip is over a minute long, but the introduction is only 5 seconds long. So what we're going to do is we're going to left click on that like I showed you earlier, and then drag it to make it the same size, zoom back in again, and then we're going to go on to the sound mixer. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it fade out at the end. So I'm going to go on attribute and then click on fade out, and then you can see here is the fade. Now I don't want it to just suddenly stop, so I'm going to make the fade slightly longer. So you can now see that the fade is a lot longer than it was. So when we play this through again, you can see this time it does not just stop halfway through, and it's got a nice fade onto it, and then that will blend quite nicely into the beginning of your video. So now we've added text, we've added video, and we've also added sound, and they are the three really main components of an introduction video. So I hope this has given you the foundations of what would go into an introduction video. Obviously you would put a lot more effort into it than this, but this is just showing you the basics of what you can do and just really showing you what you can actually do on this software, and there is a potential for something extremely good.
So what are instant projects? So basically they are projects which have been pre-made for you, which you can adjust to your liking. You can insert your own video clips, and you basically keep the style which has already been designed for you. So you can click on the Instant Projects tab, which is here, the second one down. Now if you're used to X4, you'll remember it's down here near the timeline, so they've actually moved it and it's now up here. So click on Instant Project, and now you'll see that there is a whole list of different ones here which say beginning, middle, ending and complete, which is the whole project. So you can choose between those ones, and then you'll see when you click on one a whole range of different ones which have been pre-made for you here. So what you need to do is choose one, and obviously first of all decide whether you want it at the beginning, middle or the end, or you want it to run the whole way through your project. So for the purpose of this video I'm just going to do it for the beginning. So I've clicked on the beginning tab here, and I'm just going to choose the first one on the list. So you left click on it and you drag it into the timeline. Now you'll see here when I'm hovering over the timeline that it's gone white. So that's the space that it will take up on the timeline. You can see it's about 10 seconds long. So when you let go of left click, you'll see that the instant project has been inserted, including music and overlays, titles, and also some video in there as well. So you can see when we press play to preview the video, this is our pre-made layout. So it's quite a nice design, but obviously not perfect to what we want, because we want to add our own videos inside these media players here. So what do you do to add video inside where these 1, 2, 3s are? So basically you go to your media file, you insert it to your library, and then find one which is a similar size to the ones which are already here, so it's easier to trim it down. Then look to see how long it is. You can even look in the properties to see how long that clip is. So you just delete that, right click on it and press delete, and then you can drag your one in and then trim it to the right size, and then you'll see that it is now being inserted onto the timeline here. So we removed number 1, so obviously it's going to go into number 1 here. So we can move it around by left clicking on it and dragging, and we can resize it by using the little squares on the corners here and on the sides. So we can position it inside the frame and we can stretch it, and now you can see that it is fit inside there. Now when we play this, you'll see that it just appears. So that doesn't look very good when it just appears like that. So left click on your video, press options, and then you'll see there's 2 little buttons here. One is a fade in motion and one is a fade out motion. If we click on both of these, then you'll see that when we play that again, the video clip will fade in instead of just appearing. Which looks a lot better than it just appearing instead of having any nice fading in motion. So it's a lot better to look at and makes it look a lot more professional. So obviously you can change the other 2 videos as well to your liking, and you can change the text here. So to change the text, you left click on the text file, which is down here in the timeline, left click on there, and then you can edit it. So obviously this video was filmed in Scotland, so I would call it A Holiday in Scotland. Now you'll see that because I've changed the text, it's moved it from its original position and it's not aligned to the top center of the screen. So you'll see here there is an alignment tool, and you can press the top center one if you wish, or you can choose any others, and then you can keep it where it goes, or you can use the up and down arrows on your keyboard and you can position it in a nice smart layout to how you like it. So I'm quite happy with the layout now. However, it doesn't look very exciting and appealing to look at. So if you left click on your text again, you can then choose your font type. So I'm going to choose a font which is more fun than just the basic which it's defaulted to. So I'm going to choose Seabird Light SF, and then I'm going to choose a different colour. Left click on the colour box, and then you can choose from a whole range of different colours here. You can also use the colour picker, and then you can choose from any colour there is. You can also copy and paste a colour code here if you know one, and then press OK and it will insert that colour. So I'm just going to choose this green and press OK. You can then see that the green has been inserted into the text and my title has changed colour. So now when we play this back, you'll see that our video has been inserted and the text has changed colour. So you should now be starting to get an idea of what an instant project is. Obviously there is a lot of stuff you can do, and this is just one of the beginning ones which I've chosen here, and you can do it for the whole project if you wish. So the best thing to do is just have a good play around on the software and basically see what different things you can do. Obviously what I've just done here is a very quick thing, just adding a few videos and a title. If you really do work really hard at it, you can get a really good professional piece of work. Even just a few minutes at it can make it look really good. So it's a really good idea to use an instant project, especially if you're new to the software. I really did find that when I was new to it.
So the layout on VideoStudio is the position of these 3 modules. So you can change the size of these modules by clicking on the edge of them and dragging left and right to resize them. So you can reposition them, you can move them about, and you can resize them. Once you have moved and resized them to the way you like it, you press Settings, Layout Settings, Save To, and then custom 1, 2 or 3. It's totally up to you. If you've already done one, then obviously custom 1 will have been used, and then you'll have to use custom 2. If you haven't done it yet, then you can use custom 1. So I'm going to press custom 1, and that has now saved my new layout into custom 1. You can go back to your original by clicking on layout settings again, and then click switch to, and then default, and you can see that's how it started off. You can get back to your new one by clicking switch to, then custom 1. So you can create lots of different ones if you wish, and you can keep alternating between them. So basically all you have to do is click on number 2, which is edit here, and then go down to this little button which is the graphic button. You'll then see there's a drop down menu here, so left click on that and then click on frame. You'll then see there's all these different frames which you can add to your projects. So I'm just going to click one at random here, and you just left click on it, and then you drag it down into an overlay track, not on top of the actual video because it won't work. And then you'll see it's imported there, and then you can see that the frame has been added on top of the project. So if you make that to the size you want it to be, you can then watch your project, and you'll see that it's now got a frame on it. So basically that's all there is to adding a frame onto your projects. There's plenty to choose from, so hopefully there'll be one to suit your project. So to add titles, you click on the titles tab which is here on the middle of the screen, and then you double click anywhere in this black box. You can then type in your text, and then you can see that we have added our first title. Now we want to add multiple titles in the same area, so just simply double click anywhere else in the box and it will automatically create a new area to type your title. You'll notice that our first title has remained in its place. So you can see we have added a multiple title but in the same area. You can see in the timeline it can be moved as one whole thing, although we have added 2 different titles in there. So basically what Smart Proxy is a function to allow you to edit larger files like HD files without having to make your computer process all of those files while you're editing it in the timeline. So what it will basically do is change that file into a smaller file so it can process it quickly, and it will give you a more fluid experience while you're editing your videos. So basically it will make the whole thing run smoother. So to enable Smart Proxy, what you have to do is you have to click on Settings, which is at the top left hand corner here, and there's 2 ways of doing it. You can go down to the Smart Proxy Manager and then just simply click Enable a Smart Proxy. That's one way of doing it. Or the other way of doing it is clicking on Preferences and then go to Performance, and then you can also enable Smart Proxy here as well. So basically that's all Smart Proxy is. It's just to allow you to have a more fluid experience while you're editing your videos. It won't make your computer run as hard. It doesn't have to process a big file, it just has to process a smaller one. But the beauty of it is you can edit it as a small file, but then you can export it as HD as you created it. So that's the best thing about Smart Proxy. Now it's very simple to add narration. First of all, you just need to make sure you've got a microphone plugged in and that your computer has recognised it. And then you just go to the section of your project where you want your narration to be added to. So let's say you wanted your narration to be 5 seconds in. So you can see I've put the slider here 5 seconds into the project. You then have to just click on this button here, which is the Record and Caption button. So if you left click on that and then click on VoiceOver, which is here, it then comes up with a window where it can set the volume level. So when you're happy with that, you can go ahead and press start. Now as soon as you press start, it will start recording, so make sure you're ready when it comes on. You can now see that the slider is moving, which means it's recording. So everything you do now is being recorded, and when you're happy with what you've recorded you can then stop it, and to do this you can either press escape or the space bar. Both will stop the recording. So you can now see that I've stopped the recording and the recorded file has been added to the timeline in the narration area. So that's pretty much all there is to adding narration to your video. You can trim it obviously like you can with video files by just left clicking on it and dragging to the right size, and you can then see that I've shortened the video. So that's basically all there is to it. So I hope this video has helped you, and as usual, thanks for watching.